Delano, weekly paychecks are a good thing. Crew members like that. What possibly can change? What options are there if the union was to come in?
Okay, so weekly paychecks. Weekly paychecks are big for Jetblue, right? We're the last actual airline with, our own crew members who give weekly paychecks to our ground crew. Southwest get paid on the 5th and the 20th. American bi-weekly. Even Delta, who's non-union, gets paid bi-weekly, which is a little surprising. United, same thing. So weekly paychecks, for me, I think, with the amount of money us as ground crews putting in the bank, we like our paychecks rapid fire, right? Every week, you can control. I like to use the terminology. If you need $1,000 next week, right? Something comes up, you need $1,000 next week, you know where to get it. You'll come to work, you'll pick up your shift using your flexibility to pick up how much you want, up to 80 hours. And next week paycheck is going to be that $1,000. You don't have to wait for 2 weeks. You don't have to go borrow. So right. It's big. I'm big on the weekly paycheck. I think I've been here for 14 years. That's one thing we always sustained, and that's one of my biggest things. I mean, we're not putting buku bucks into the bank, So for ground crew, frontline crew members, weekly paycheck should be number one on the priority list. And just going over union contracts, every union contract has bi-weekly paychecks in them. So, right. Crew members need to take that into account, and the money sits on the books longer for the company, right? So when you look at interest, right, JetBlue's putting millions of dollars into the bank per week, right? So how it helps the company is now they could accumulate interest for a week more before they have to actually pay out any money to their employees. So we're not putting that big money in there. I know we probably see 9 cents dividends at the end of every couple months, but imagine that as a company who put millions, how much dividends they're getting back from the banks, so yeah.
So crew members can basically make their own paychecks depending on how much
hours they work.
Right, how many hours they work. Now, is that also on the table, the amount of hours we can work? Because at JetBlue currently we have a maximum of 80 hours per week. Could that also be threatened?
Yes, everything is on the table, right? The JetBlue we know is now today, every last thing is on the table. Okay. And in ACAT, right? When we review our ACATs, that's something that crew members don't see. I know they're not in the process. We actually send it out. We actually get record loads of people who actually sign up for the process. And I encourage everybody to actually sit and sign up for the process, because you'll go and you'll see contracts and you'll see what's actually going on in different airlines, right? So let me give you an instance. At a point of last ACAT when we was reviewing, Southwest was making $34 top of scale, right? I know they just ratified. They had 39. In 4 years, we have 2 ACATs to go through before they get to that amount. So we'll be right behind them. Anyhow, they had 34, we had 32, right? They have to pay union dues. We don't at our 32. They get paid the 5th and the 20th. We get paid weekly. We control our hours, we control our shift trays and how much hours we're picking up. They don't have that flexibility. So if you ask me as a frontline crew member who's been here for 14 years, I'll take my 32 over that 34 with all the requirements around the 34. So definitely ACAT is something that the company does mention to us where they want to change it to every 2 weeks. And that's something I'll give up $1 top of scale to keep our crew members getting paid weekly. Because like I said, we're not flight or in-flight who's making $60, $70 an hour, and flight who's making 200 plus, who can afford financially, and I'm being honest, to actually say, hey, we could get paid every 2 weeks because, we're getting a lot of money every 2 weeks. We're getting $600-$700. So imagine having to wait 2 weeks to get $1,200 to $1,400.
So you said 34 or 35 for Southwest. So theoretically, crew members would have to wait maybe 4 years for a contract to be signed if the IAM vote was supposed to be successful, and we would be actually foregoing 2 ACATs in that space where we could actually catch up with absolutely no consequences to our current way of life.
Exactly, and no cost.
No cost.
Yeah, because you'll still be having to pay. Well, I think they said in that you'll be paying union dues after the contract is ratified.
Right.
But they haven't mentioned about the back pay of that $42 a month. And a lot of other contracts, do it on percentage, right?
Right.
So say they taking 3% of your check, right? As a GO crew member, we're usually the breadwinner of the family, right? And we work a lot of hours. So as a GO crew member, imagine getting 3% of your check taken out.
3% of
Your check.
of 60 hours is much less than 3% of 80 hours, but it's significant if you don't necessarily have a set amount of dollar amount to come out.
Exactly. So that's what crew members have to also understand, that everything could change. You know, remember, you're going through negotiations. Everything is on the table.
Right.
So, you know, just something to take into consideration.
So at that percentage mark, the union will basically be making more based off of how many hours you work.
Exactly. The harder you work, you know, they say the more, just like Uncle Sam, the more that you make, the more they take.
Oh my God.
That's how it works.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.